Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you how I made this beautiful luscious cowl kaftan using a sequins fabric. This project really tested my sewing skills, creativity, patience, and made me know how much I have grown. It is my first time working with sequins, and I'll be sharing the tips I used to achieve my results. If this is your first time watching my video, you're highly welcome. I share sewing tutorials, pattern drafting, neat finishes on garments, DIYs, and some lifestyle videos. Please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I have here 3 meters of fabric and 14 inches. This sequence has a bit of stretch. I'll go ahead and draft the full pattern for the front and back on the same paper and make any necessary corrections. The pattern for this cowl kaftan is almost the same with the kimono, but with few modifications. So I'm just marking our neck measurement 3 by 3 inches for reference. The total length of our sleeve is 29 inches, but I'll minus 4 inches for the cuff or band. So here I'm marking 25 inches for the sleeve length. From that 25 inches point, I will go down 2 inches for my shoulder slope. And on the neckline, I will go in by half an inch for the neckline modification. And I'll connect these 2 points. This neckline modification gives you a better slope on your shoulder and prevents pointy corners at your neckline. I will go in and draw my neckline curve. The depth of my neckline is 11 inches and I'll draw in my V neckline. The total sleeve circumference is 10 inches, but this sleeve has some gathers, so I marked 9 inches, which will give me 18 inches in total, which I will gather back to 10 inches. From the start line, I went down 29 inches for the hip level and square out the point. And with my tape placed on the hip level at 29 inches, I went down 60 inches for the full length of the kaftan and I square out the point. On the hip level, I will place the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease. You can add more ease to yours if you want. And I'll place this same measurement at the hem of the kaftan and I'll connect these 2 points. On the sleeve, I went in by half an inch and drew a slanted line from that point to the hip level as a guide to help me draw in the shape of the kaftan. So I have drawn in the first shape of the drape. I didn't like how it's looking, so I went in and modified it till I was satisfied with the outcome. After drawing in the shape of the kaftan, you can see at the hip we have more ease. I have 18 inches as against the 13 inches I marked earlier. I'm working with a hip circumference of 48 inches. From the start line, I'll place the length of the front slit measurement at 43 inches and at the hem of the dress, I will mark 0.25 inches and connect these 2 points. So this rounds up the front pattern and we'll move to the back. For the back pattern, I will extend the line on the neckline of the front pattern upwards to 1.5 inches and I'll square out this point. This new line becomes my shoulder line for the back pattern. On the neckline, I will go in by half an inch as I did in the front for the neckline modification, and with my tape placed on the back shoulder line, I will go down 2 inches for my shoulder slope. I will connect these 2 points and draw in my back neckline. From the shoulder slope point, I will go down 9 inches for my sleeve opening. and I'll go ahead and add my seam allowances and cut out our pattern, starting first with the back. So here is our pattern for the front and back panels. I will start first with the back. I have cut out the back panel of the kaftan. Please do not use your fabric scissors to cut sequins, it will damage the blade. You can use any other scissors, paper scissors or an electric cutter like I used, but definitely not your fabric scissors. You will do a lot of cleaning because the whole place will be messy with sequins. Protect your eyes, wear clear shades if you have one because you have these sequins flying everywhere while you cut. I'll put this aside and trim off the back pattern so that I can cut the front panel of the kaftan. I have the front pattern pinned on the fabric. I will go in with my electric cutter and cut out the front panel. I will also cut out the bands or the curves of the sleeve. Sequins are beautiful but intimidating fabric to work with, so I did a little research on YouTube since it's my first time working with sequins. I saw a number of techniques but decided to go with the method of removing the sequins from the seam allowance since the kaftan will not be lined. So the sequins are sewn onto a mesh, and to remove them from the mesh, you will have to cut through the center hole of the sequins, making sure you do not cut the thread as this will or might unravel the sequins. This was very challenging in the beginning, but I was able to figure it out and complete the task. So on the fabric, I pushed away the sequins that were not part of the seam allowance and was able to cut through the sequins and get them removed as you see me doing in the video. I also outlined the V neckline on the front panel with a contrasting thread to enable me remove the sequins around that area correctly and help me get the perfect V neckline. So depending on the type of neckline you're going for, you might as well consider outlining your neckline like this as a guide. This whole task took me 4 days to complete. So here are all my pieces done. I did this for all the seam allowance and all the places I'll be running my stitches for the front and the back panel, the necklines, shoulder seams, side seams, the slit, the hem of the kaftan, the curves, the hem of the sleeves. In fact, it was a lot of work to be honest. Because this sequence has a bit of stretch and is sewn onto a mesh, I decided to turn out the neckline with a cotton fabric instead of a mesh to give it some stability and prevent the neckline from sagging. So I did this for the slit, the hem of the kaftan, and the hem of the curves of the sleeve. So I've gone ahead and attached this strip of fabric to the neckline with pins. The width of this strip of fabric is 2 inches each on both sides, and the length is 2 inches longer than the depth of my neckline. I'll go ahead and run a straight stitch, clip into the V neckline, top stitch on it, and I'll do the same for the back neckline.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray.
The necklines are done. The rest of the finishing on the neckline will be done by hand tacking. I'll go ahead and do the same for the center front slit. The length of the front slit is 17 inches plus half-inch seam allowance at the hem of the kaftan. The length of the strip of fabric is 20 inches and the width on fold is 2 inches. The total width is 4 inches, which I have split into 2. So I have indicated on the piece of lining the length of the front slit. Always remove all sequins from the seam allowance before sewing, as this might break your needle while sewing. I'll go ahead and attach this piece of cloth with pins and run my stitches. The front slit and the neckline has been cleaned up successfully. I'm just giving it a good press so that everything lay nice and beautiful. The rest of the finishing I will do by hand tacking. So I'll just go ahead and press in my seam allowance and trim down any excess to remove bulkiness. So I have pinned the front slit and the neckline the way I will hand tack them later on with pins. I will go ahead and assemble the front panel and the back panel together. The cotton lining I used to turn out the neckline and the front slit really helped to stabilize the neckline and give it that stability and define the V neckline the way I wanted, which I doubt if I had used the mesh to turn it out instead, if I would have gotten the same result. So I have assembled the front and the back panel together at the shoulder with pins. I'll go ahead and run my stitches. I have joined them at the shoulders, and I have also sewn in one of the sleeves. I'll quickly show you what I did. On the seam allowance of the sleeve, I ran a basting stitch which I gathered to the sleeve circumference. Then I attach it to the cuffs with pins, which I went ahead to stitch them together. Then I stitch close the side seam of the caftan all the way from the cuff sleeve to the hem of the caftan. I also went ahead and finished off the hem of the caftan just the same way I did for the front slit and the neckline. The strip of cotton lining I used for the hem is 2 inches, and then the length is the circumference of the hem of the caftan. And here is the caftan all done and dusted. This turned out so beautiful. If you knew the work that went into making this dress, you will know why I sound so excited. I'll go ahead and give you guys a closer view. I have finished off the necklines by hand tacking it. I also hand tagged the front slit and the hem of the caftan. Let me show you guys from the wrong side of the caftan, and this is what it looks like. I tacked all my seam allowance at the cuffs, the shoulder seams, and the side seams. My client can literally wear this caftan without any undergarment because it felt comfortable against the skin. It was a whole lot of work, but the finishing was top notch. So guys, let me know in the comment section if you'll be recreating these or making something for yourself in sequins, because I'm definitely making one for myself. I mean, why not? So that's it for me, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. It took me sweat and blood to make this dress. Comment, share, turn on your notifications, and subscribe to my channel. And until my next one, a bientôt!